If you've got a SaaS business and you've got some revenues, but you don't have enough pipeline being generated to really hit your growth goals, then you need to revamp your go-to-market strategy. In this episode, I'm going to walk you through the 3 principles that you absolutely need to know to revamp your go-to-market strategy, generate more pipeline, and accelerate your path to that next stage of growth. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I have SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS business faster with an unstoppable strategy. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon, that way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. Now, if you're already part of this channel, if you're part of this community, if you're part of my SaaS go-to-market coaching programs, my people, welcome back. It's really awesome to see you over here. So I remember with ToutApp, this was my last company. We started the sales engagement space. And we hit a point where we educated the market. Sales acceleration, sales engagement, outbound automation was a thing. We knew who our ideal customers were. They were growing companies with inside sales teams that wanted more pipeline. We knew who we needed to target. It was the VP of sales and the head of sales development. We knew exactly the messaging that was resonating. But there was a point where we didn't have enough pipeline. We literally could not send enough outbound emails to generate enough demand. So we really needed a holistic go-to-market strategy. This is where I learned the idea of conversation dominance. Over the course of a year, we grew 300% and then raised money from Andreessen Horowitz. But in order to get to that point, we revamped our go-to-market strategy to drive pipeline at an immense level. So in this episode, with everything that I've learned in my 15 years of SaaS businesses and helping over 250 SaaS companies build and execute on their go-to-market strategy, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 principles that you absolutely need to know to take your current go-to-market strategy or lack thereof and really set it up so you can scale it and achieve conversation dominance in your target market and accelerate your path to that next stage of growth. So if you can start to dig into this principle number 1, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really likes it when you do that, and let's dig right into it. So principle number 1 that you really want to focus on, and I talk about this in the channel all the time, is to really define your ideal customer profile. These are your happy customers where when they discover you, they're like, oh my God, I totally need this. That's principle number 1, your ICP, ideal customer profile. Once you have an ideal customer profile, the second principle that you need is the message. This is the thing that actually resonates with your ideal customer profile. We call this the manifesto. And a manifesto breaks down into some specific things. It's your value prop, the value proposition statement that you would put in a cold email or in an ad or in a LinkedIn post. It's your messaging. This is essentially how you explain exactly what your product does, the story that you tell. And this is also your strategic narrative. The strategic narrative really comes together in your sales deck. This is when they book a call, or if you're product-led, in that welcome journey that you take customers through to educate them on the exact transformation your product helps them achieve. This is all your manifesto. This is your messaging. And with these first 2 principles, and I'm going fast on this because I cover this on the channel all the time, and you can watch more videos on this channel if you're literally brand new and you just discovered me to learn more about ICP and Manifesto. But this is kind of table stakes for our go-to-market strategy. Because what you're looking to do is actually bring your manifesto to your ideal customers on a consistent basis. And that's what really gets the pipeline going. So principle number 1 is to have a well-defined ideal customer profile of exactly who's gonna buy your product, why they're gonna buy it. Principle number 2 is to have a proper manifesto, proper messaging, where when you approach them through any of the different channels that exist, they're like, oh, this is super interesting. I actually wanna talk to these people. I feel like I can trust these people. They know what I'm talking about. They know exactly about the problems that I'm facing, and they're gonna engage with you in your sales process or your product-led process, depending on where you're going. So those are the 2 table stakes. If you just don't have an ICP, I mean a properly well-defined one, if you don't have a proper manifesto, this is your messaging, your value prop, your strategic narrative, then you basically don't have a go-to-market strategy, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. It just depends on the stage you're in. Maybe you got all of your revenue so far through your existing network, and now you can't get any new customers. Or you kind of lucked out and you had something that went viral and you got a bunch of stuff, or you were product hunt, and now you're like, hey, what's my more scalable way? Or maybe you have some some version of this, but it's not yielding enough results. You're not actually driving enough pipeline. Regardless of where you are, the first two steps are the same. You want to flesh out your ideal customer profile, and you want to flesh out your messaging. These two things are the raw foundational ingredients to a proper go-to-market strategy that drives growth. Now you might be wondering, okay, TK, what do I do with that? Do I just send 1,000 cold emails? No, not quite. This is where the principle of conversation dominance comes into play. This is the game-changing thing, and I've been working with all of my clients with. But before I go into that, let me just pause here for a second. Are you first starting to see the power in this? What ends up happening is a lot of times people think go-to-market strategy is just a notion of who they're targeting and what they're gonna say, and they jump to the execution. The execution is sending 1,000 emails, giving Mark Zuckerberg $1,000 in ad money, or doing a bunch of LinkedIn posts, or doing a blog, or hiring an SEO person, or hiring a fractional CMO who can't hold a real CMO job, so they're doing this fractional thing, and then you waste 6 months of your burn. That's execution. But strategy work is, hey, who's our customer? Specifically, let's just say we're at $1 million in ARR, we want to get to $3 million in ARR. Who are our specific customers that are going to get us there? And also, what's our manifesto? What's the unique thing we can bring to the market that differentiates us from the competition? Where people are like, oh, this is different. I really want to engage with these guys versus the 50 other vendors that are trying to sell me. Can you see the power of just establishing these two things? Because this is the core of a go-to-market strategy. If you're with me, can I just get a yes in the comments below? And also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really loves it when you do that. Also, if you're in that stage where you're like, hey, actually, I don't have an ICP, or it's no good, or my manifesto's off, my messaging's off, I need to fix it, then I encourage you to check out my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. Inside that program, I actually work with you one-on-one to help you flesh out these things. You don't have to go anywhere right now because point number 3 is really important for everyone involved. So let's talk about that, and then I'll tell you more about it at the end of this episode. Also, smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really likes it when you do that, and so do we. We put a lot of love into these videos. Okay, so principle number 3 is what we call the Broadway show. And I'm gonna explain what that is and what's different about it. The Broadway show is a consistent set of sales and marketing activities that you're doing on a weekly basis to bring your message to your ICP. It's really that simple. Here's the problem though. What ends up happening is people end up being scatterbrained in their Broadway show. They end up doing a YouTube thing today, and then they give up on it, and then do a blog post, and then they give up on it. Then they'll try a LinkedIn post, or they heard about the TikTok's the next great thing, or they'll do a product hunt launch, or they're just running some ads, and then they give up on it. Like, that's not consistent. Consistency is when you pick specific channels and you consistently operate in those channels and get better and better to bring your manifesto to your ICP in a consistent basis. And it compounds over time. That's a Broadway show. But if you're already doing some of this, you don't just stop there, because we are now working with a lot of founders in my go-to-market program, anywhere from a few 100,000 in ARR upwards of 100 million in ARR. We're working with these 3 principles. These principles still apply in that range of businesses. We're working on what we call conversation dominance. And the ideal conversation dominance is everywhere your ICP is going, we want them to see your message. That's conversation dominance. And that's what a scalable Broadway show looks like. So if you're just starting out and you don't have anything, then where you want to start in your go-to-market strategy journey is to really flesh out your ICP, really flesh out your manifesto, and start to test it in specific channels. That's easy. Once you get it going, and once you know what, TK, my messaging is working, then you actually want to get to a scalable Broadway show, and that's where you achieve conversation dominance. Let me explain what that means. So if you think about your ideal customer, think about one person. Let's just call him Bob. Bob is your ICP. There's 1,000 Bobs. If you land the next 1,000 Bobs, you triple your revenues, okay? So pretty awesome. You want lots of Bobs. Well, if you think about Bob, the first thing Bob has is a set of social feeds, right? He's looking at social. If you think about Bob, he's also got his inbox. He's looking at his emails. If you also think about Bob, when he's sitting down, he's trying to figure out how to solve his problems, he's actually going in and searching for stuff. So there's search. If you think about Bob, he's also got a phone. He's answering calls on his phone and he's texting. If you think about Bob, Bob also has a calendar. And that means he's going to events. And if you think about Bob, Bob also knows Mike. Mike is just like Bob, kind of like your ICP, but guess what? Mike happens to be one of your existing customers. So Mike actually knows Bob, and Bob has all these things. This is where conversation dominance really comes in. This is something that I've been working with specific companies in my program where they've nailed the ICP and they've nailed the manifesto, and they're like, look, we just want more pipeline. And this is companies upwards of 100 million in revenues. What we're doing is we're saying, you know what? Bob wakes up every morning, and through the course of the day, he's looking at his social feeds, whether it's LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook. He's looking at his inbox. He's looking at emails coming in. He's searching for things. He's actually calling people and receiving phone calls. He is going to events, and he also knows people that we know that he trusts. That's Bob. And what we want to do is, if we have a message that is working, we want to bring that message all around Bob. Meaning that if you want Bob as a customer, and you know when he sees this messaging, he's gonna become a customer, you wanna achieve conversation dominance. And the way you do that is you make sure your message appears when he's on his social feeds. You wanna make sure your message appears in his inbox. You wanna make sure that when he's searching for specific things related to your message, he's seeing your manifesto. You wanna make sure that maybe you give Bob a call. You also wanna make sure that you're attending the events where Bob is, or if he's expressing interest in an event, he also sees your messaging. And lastly, you also wanna make sure, since you already know Mike and he's a happy customer, you tell Mike, hey, can you introduce us to Bob? When you're running your Broadway show at scale across all these different channels consistently and measurably, your go-to-market strategy not only gets revamped, it starts to scale and starts to compound. Going back to that 1 year where we were everywhere, and specifically our ICP was like, we want every single technology company in San Francisco because they're fast growing, they have inside sales, they have SDRs. We were everywhere, and we applied this same strategy. This is the same strategy we apply even at Unstoppable and all the clients we work with. They go for conversation dominance, because once we know this is our ICP, like Bob, and we know this is our manifesto and it resonates, we want to be everywhere, all over. And when we do that, not only are we adding value to Bob's life because we're all educational content, we're teaching Bob about the transformation that's happening with our strategic narrative, we're giving him the messaging that we know resonates with more people like Bob and they find value in it, then Bob likes us, trusts us, and engages with us to buy our product. And that's the power of a Broadway show. So to recap, if you have some revenues, but you don't have enough pipeline, and you really want to make sure you're driving growth, here are the 3 steps you want to follow to revamp your go-to-market strategy. Number 1, flesh out your ICP. Number 2, make sure your messaging is resonating. That comes in the form of your value prop, your messaging, and your strategic narrative. That all falls into what we call a manifesto. And step number 3, run a consistent set of sales and marketing activities so that you're achieving conversation dominance around Bob to make sure your message is reaching him, educating him, activating him, and getting him to say, you know what, I gotta talk to these guys because they understand me. And then you actually get to serve Bob. That's the power of a scalable go-to-market strategy. And now you know exactly the 3 principles you need to follow to scale your SaaS business. What you may not know is, hey TK, how do I flesh out my ICP? How do I make sure it's any good? Everyone thinks they have an ICP until they work with me. We have 29 different points that go into our ICP exercise. Then it's like, hey, what's our manifesto? How do we actually tell the narrative? How do we differentiate from our competition? How do we make sure this messaging resonates with Bob or whoever else is in our ICP? Or how do I take my ICP and my manifesto, test it, iterate on it, and then drive for conversation dominance across all these channels? This is exactly why I created my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. Inside of this program, we work together to help you flesh out your go-to-market strategy, revamp it, and execute on it so that you can accelerate your path to that next stage of growth. Specifically, we teach you exactly how to flesh out your ICP, build your manifesto, and run a consistent Broadway show so you can achieve conversation dominance around Bob and anyone else in your ICP. It's an incredible program. We've worked with so many founders in the program. We've had so many amazing success stories that we publish in this channel. If you want to work together and you want to learn more, just go to tkkader.com/GTM. tkkader.com/GTM. And on that page, you get all the details about the program. If you'd like to work together, you just have to fill out a little form and we'll get on a call. And on the call, we'll review all the details on where you are. The better the fit, the better the results. And so if it sounds like we're a fit, we'll tell you all about it. And we're off to the races to revamp your go-to-market strategy, flesh out your ICP, your manifesto, and then run a Broadway show so you can accelerate your path to that next stage of growth. This is a framework that I've used in my own companies, that I continue to use, and that I've coached over 250 founders on how to actually apply. It's an incredible program, and I hope we get to work together. Also, if you got values from this video, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that, and so do we. My team and I put a lot of love into these videos. If you have a fellow founder, a team member that would get value from this video, please share this with them. That way we can serve as many SaaS founders and leaders as possible. That's really the goal for this channel. And also, I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon where you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode or inside the SaaS Go-to-Market Coaching Program. I'll see you there. Take care. Meaning, from the trenches, from actually being, wow, let's redo that.